Okay, I'm going to show you how to send your editing outside of DaVinci Resolve into Nuke Studio. So Nuke Studio is an amazing conforming platform, which means like this is where you organize and manage your VFX pipeline and production. So how to send it from Nuke Studio to Nuke, and then how to send back from Nuke. So here you sort of basically here where you add. So this is manage VFX, and this is your where you add VFX. And then once added, like sending it back to Nuke Studio, and then from Nuke Studio back to Resolve. So here for the Resolve we use, so Resolve is our editing platform. So basically what we do, so our main tool here, our main migration or like sending or exporting tool that we use is XML. XML is a editing kind of format that exports your entire timeline. So we send it with XML to Studio, but Nuke Studio directly talks to Nuke, so we don't need to do anything, and it directly talks back. But we send it with XML, but receive it as XML as well. So I'm going to show you how to do it. Here is our like a basic Resolve editing pipe interface. So let me I just have like a bunch of footage filmed in Blackmagic Raw. So let's just do a basic editing with them. This one looks up, so let's assume that I cut from here to here. I use, so the moment I drag it, so the timeline is generated based on the video. And then, so one important thing is that like you're gonna see it even in Nuke. After Nuke 13, you can read the color science. So here, your project is a Blackmagic Raw default. Actually, you can say grab the information from clip, and you can say that yeah, it has a like kind of fifth generation color grading and color science. So we'll get there. But like at the moment, just basic editing, some shots. So like this one is looking from high up to down. So I have a suggestion for you that you guys avoid any, and this one like from here to here. Avoid any editing effects. So like you can avoid like a blank or black slate in the middle, but at this stage, which is like so consider this like pre VFX editing. Don't do like finalized editing. So like don't add dissolves here. So let's say you want to add dissolve some or fade in, fade out. Don't do it yet. So you still have like another round of like chances for doing your editing, another version of editing. So once you're happy with your editing, let me call this timeline. How can I name it? That's how. Call it pre-VFX timeline. So I export this timeline, export timeline. So it's basically just file, export timeline. And I've got a temp folder here. I call it resolve to Nuke Studio. So this is where I export this, and you export it as FCP7 XML. So just like very simple XML. This is like a historic like kind of format. So like you can't. That's why I said you don't add dissolve or like transitions or titles yet, because it's gonna go like very raw and return back very raw. So basically, you only need like your timeline sent. You save it, go to Nuke Studio. In the Nuke Studio, you import XML. And that's where you find this XML you just had. Open it, and voila, you get like your entire timeline. But what you realize is that like the colors are off. That's why, so you can select each one of these, double click on them, and say that the camera metadata is coming from clip, and it's a Blackmagic film or extended. Oh no, not video. Oh, but like you can go ACES to achieve like, or like it's Blackmagic film is the one we're looking for. Maybe, yeah, maybe ISO is different. Yes, so it's ISO 200. So you can do a bit of adjustment here. Like here, I also think I'm gonna load it from the clip, Color Science version 5 of Blackmagic film. And as we saw, like ISO 200 was the right ISO for us. I can do a bit of exposure adjustments. Uh-oh, that was too much. Maybe not that, but yeah. So we start from this to this, and this one also needs a bit of color adjustment from the clip with a bit of ISO adjustment. But like, you know, for every, uh-oh, so now I have too many open. So like I should have closed the previous one and then working on the last one. At this stage, save your project. So I'm gonna save it to the same spot, which I call this, save here, call this Nuke Studio project. And then when you just restart it once and you don't get this, make sure you work only on one file. There's an issue with the Blackmagic files, and that's how I figured out how to go work around it. So I restarted my Nuke Studio. I open that one again. The error is gone. I make sure I close all of that. Just sets this, yeah. So like all the colors are set now. So now this is your timeline basically. What you do, you create a timeline on top of this. Imagine that each one of them you're supposed to add like a, I don't know, a creature that, or like a monster that like goes from here to here, or something happens. A VFX gonna happen. Add a new track, a video track. I usually call it like, let's say VFX track. And then you just like upgrade each one of these. So you create a new comp for each one of this. So you just right click, create comp, and inside, I just do it inside the same folder. Where was our folder? Here. It's on desktop. Let me find it. The temp folder. And yeah, maybe. Oh no, it's here inside resolve to Nuke. It's here. Here I make a file called Nuke X comps. So a folder like all my comps go here. So that's the root. So you see that like a comp with the same name of my clip is exported there. And I do this for all of them. So once this happens, so there's a like this is amazing because now you can save all of this. Let's look at this folder. Now you have a new comp here. If you go your file name, your shot name or your footage name, and then there's 3 new comps here, like one here, one here, one here, and you can distribute it among your artists and ask each one to work on it. So here, for example, the first one, Nuke script, if I double click on it, it opens it in Nuke. Actually, I wanted to open it in Nuke X, but doesn't matter. So you have a beginning, oops, and an end. Don't touch these two. Basically, you will see that like a lot of the procedure is automated. So if you just like, let's say, add a basic tracker here. I'm gonna add a tracker here. Let's for this shot. So you see that like first of all, like when you import this one, like everything is set, like the time range, everything is set based on your editing timeline. So I'm gonna add the track here in here and track it forward. So just adding like a basic effect here. Okay, just let me set this tracker to match move. Control Shift X. So I have a match moving tracker now. So I can put a, like, let's say, I'm gonna close all of this. If I add a text here, not before it, and this text gonna be text, and it will be merged on this. So the text is there. And then the tracker for the text is on the match move. So if we play, you see that the text works with, works lower. So let's make it red. So where's the color for that? Anyway, oh, there it is. No ramp, but just like a red text or yellow to be more visible. So this is your effect. So let's say this is what you want. Well, basically you can do like a lot of other stuff like sky replacement and green screening or whatever. Don't do anything, just press Ctrl S, right? And then double click on this and press render. And okay. So your shot gets rendered And then here, you can save this and close this. Basically, somebody else might be doing this while you are managing your conformed VFX here in Nuke Studio. Here, what you do, you press here and say render comp. And that's what you get. So the VFX is here. So this is the first shot VFX. Second shot. So second shot is here. Let's do something new on the second shot. You can open, I can open the script here, like by just double clicking on this and start working on this right inside Nuke Studio. Basically, Nuke Studio have a Nuke X within it, but I prefer to do it separately outside Nuke Studio. And you will see why, because this is how teamwork happens. So what I do, as I said, I just double click the second shot. So this one, the camera moves down. So let's say you do like, I just do a very dirty VFX here. Just do a keying here. Here, and here. Basically, if I put a maybe instead of a luminance key, I just make it faster using a key light there, and I control drag the sky up, and then so the sky is keyed. We can do a bit more with the screen white and black, and all sorts of this stuff. I just add a constant here. I don't know, maybe a red one, and add it as a background to it. Set for composites. So you see the composites up there. Okay, I'm not sure if I get the, yeah, I just added it on top as a mesh node on top. Okay, we have one VFX here. S, double click on this, render it. As I said, it's not one frame rendering. Should render more, or let's go back to Nuke Studio and render it from there. Render comp. Yeah, voila. Yeah, we get the effect in it. And the third one, something else. So, for example, for the third one, I do it here. So let's say we add just like some grading here. So we add, I just add a like some contrast, like, and some adjustments. Let's make it warm. So, and this time, like again, like the previous one, so you can render here, double click here and press render. You should see a timeline thing here. I don't know why I didn't see the timeline here when I press rendered. Yeah, but that's not important when you don't get that. Make sure that you see a render that refers to your timeline. At least shows your timeline. So what I can do, I can render this as well. Render comp. So just imagine that as we go forward, this one didn't work through. So that's why I just double click here, render here. Okay. Then you see that it gets rendered. Yep. So now the effect has traveled through. So now I have my entire like 3 effects: the text effect, keying effect, like the color grading effect. So you can have like all sorts of your Nuke stuff there. So save it. So I have them as a VFX1. So now what I do, I just select, okay, so this selecting, I don't know why, let me just remove this track. So I have only VFX track. So this selecting is important. Select these, like all of the shots you want to send, and then go to the file and then go to the export. And then export. So like I only want to export my, VFX timeline as XML. I choose a folder for that. So here I XML. And yes, that's pretty much it. So make sure, like sometimes you might not see this because you are processed as shots. Make sure it's processed as sequence. Then you see all of this. Final Cut Pro 7 XML. Select your timeline and export it. It exports that. It's actually very fast, and the file size is tiny. So let's get back to DaVinci. Go to the file, import timeline. Don't be confused with this import media from XML. No, you should import timeline, and then yeah, here this is the timeline. Which was it? I think it was inside XML. Yes, we can rename that timeline. I like to rename it to, let's see if we can rename it. Okay, export XML here. Okay, export, I'm sorry, not import. Select these 3, export XML. We can name it as VFX timeline this time. And that one as well. Okay, export it. Here we're gonna get this, and then we're gonna click on it. So at this stage, this is important, that you check that ignore file extension when matching. And here, the resolution of your timeline should match. I'm not sure if this is 1080, but like, we'll see. And here it asks you, where are the rendered files? So this is like the folder. Let me just go to my desktop. This is the folder on desktop that if you go to the Nuke comps, here is where like all of, like if you look at each one of these folders has a render folder section where all the renders there, so the DPX files. So here you just select the top folder, and then it does search for all of this for you. One of the clip is not selected, it's not found. Maybe we do it one by one. Renders. Renders. And renders. Oh, it's not finding it. Maybe I should start a new timeline, a new project, and I call it VFX. And inside this project, I import timeline. That VFX timeline, ignore file extension, go to the destination render folder and say, okay, let's see what happens. So the first one is not found. Sometimes that happens. The first one is not found. The second and third one, what the effects on them are loaded. So for the first one, you can kind of replace it, find it again. Yeah. Okay, how? So this is how you send it back. There's an issue here. Probably I have to. Okay, I'm gonna solve this issue with versioning my renders. So and also talk about versioning in Nuke Studio, which is very important. So let's say, so this one had issue, right? So this one had issue. So I'm gonna fix this, but I'm gonna do like a revision on this as well. Like, let's say you go back to the one that does the text, which was the first shot. And then okay, so let's say change the color of the text. So we did a kind of adjustment. So this is how you upgrade to a new version. So just here you say, I'm gonna save this, save new comp version. So you see in the top it says version 1. When you save that, it goes version 2. And in Nuke Studio, you can search for new versions. Say that version, scan for versions, and say, oh, a new version found. And then you suddenly move to version 2, and then you can render this again. Actually, it has not updated. Scan. The reason that it has not updated is because we have not rendered this. So what we can do is, or like just right click on it and say version up. So then this gonna be like, if I double click on it, it should say on here in the rendering, when I double click on it, it says it's gonna render version 2 now. So now let's render it again. Okay, now I get the blue text. So let's now port the XML again. You can overwrite it. Basically that this one has been overwritten. And let's delete these. Let's file import timeline. This one is the updated version just now. No file extension on matching. Let's go select. I wish like we could copy and paste addresses here in. That's fine. XML VFX. Oh no, the renders are here. All the renders are in the Nuke XComps. It finds all of them, yeah, finally. So you see that the new render helps this one working better. So all of them are here, and then, so it's basically a timeline on top of your previous timeline with the effects added.